Welcome to Team Sports Entertainment, your one-stop shop for mature dialogue. We're going to get right to it. Welcome to Team Sports Entertainment, the podcast, your one-stop shop for mature sports dialogue. I am your host, Earl Teemer, alongside my co-host, my big unc, Alan Teemer. Before we go any further, please like the videos, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel, and most importantly, hit the notification bell. That way you know Dream Teamers when we upload new content. All right, we're getting right to it. Our weekly Utah Jazz update. Fresh off the All-Star break.
And still
number one in the NBA.
Yeah.
See, I got it right this time. Not the Western Conference, the NBA.
The entire league. And I mean, it was only one game that took place since the All-Star break. We had a little, you told me that they dropped two.
Yeah, they lost prior to the break. They lost to the Pelicans and Sixers.
It's I've been so excited about them that I didn't even realize they was on a 2-game losing streak.
Yeah.
And still in first place.
Yeah, still 2.5 games.
Yeah.
Above Phoenix.
And they play tonight.
They got Houston out of there.
Ain't nobody playing for them.
Houston, I don't know who playing for them right
Practice.
now. Yeah, but it's still a W.
Yeah.
You got to beat whoever's on the floor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But now, this is where it is. This is the second half of the season.
Mm-hmm.
They're in first place.
That's right.
Phoenix Suns is breathing down their necks because they rising. And can Utah hold it? Most people don't think they can, as because they're not taking them seriously. Still, we know that I must keep saying that in every last one of these episodes because people listen. I hate to toot our own horn, but I think we're the only ones talking about Utah.
Yeah.
There's not too many people out there talking about Utah, and they throwing little subs in there as if it's not for real. And I'm tired of that conversation because they're still here.
How could you not take
How many games ahead of
Phoenix?
2.5. 2.5. And then
you got the Lakers by 3.5. Got the Clippers by 4.
Right. I mean, come on.
And going forward, percentage-wise,
right, they
have the most favorable record, I should say. So as far as
schedule,
schedule, yeah. Mm-hmm. Most favorable schedule. So based on records, they'll be playing some of the worst teams in the league. And like we said before, they just played Houston. That was a bad team. It's still a W.
Right. Yeah.
So if they do what they're supposed to do, Utah that is, they should be all right.
And everybody's waiting for the trade deadline and the free agent pickups and the buyouts. And they already started. They picked up Ilyasova.
Mm-hmm.
They picked him up. Did I pronounce his name right?
I don't know if I can pronounce. I think Ilyasova, something.
Ilyasova.
Like
That's it. They picked him. And to me, he's
not what he once was, but he can be a key contributor.
If he's anything like he's always been, that I watched him on every other team that he played for, he comes and he does what he does. He comes to play. And he has experience.
That's right.
And so to me, he's sort of like I'm not going to say he is Bogdanovic, but he can give you some of the same things that he brings. He can shoot. He rebounds a little bit.
Yeah.
And his defense is not really that good, but you got Gobert back there to back that up. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
And Gobert and Donovan Mitchell. They, first of all, I read an article that was talking about, the pandemic with the pandemic and Gobert, and they had a little beef between the two.
Yeah.
But I love when men can be men. Because there was something that Bishop always told us. And what was that you learned from Bishop that you always repeat about what men?
Oh, you don't got to say you're the man. Just be a man.
Just be a man.
Just be the man. Yeah,
right. Yeah. So now those two had a problem. And when this article, Donovan Mitchell says that's what brought them closer together for this season.
Communication.
Exactly. Men don't fall out and I ain't talking to you. They don't do that. They talk it out and they move forward. And that's what happened. And those two are anchoring this team. And look what you have.
And it shows too. Like if you just the whole maturation process, what they went through, and how they accepted it or they decided to approach it.
Right.
now it's turned into a winning season.
Mm-hmm.
Because in addition to going through that, they also blew a 3-1 lead in the playoffs. Right? And they showed maturity, and they came back wanting to, I would say, be better individuals.
Right.
Came together.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're approaching the second half of the season. Got healthy.
Yeah.
Most people, they were fold from that stuff. I want to get traded. I'm not talking to this guy anymore. This is my team.
We see them babies all the time. These babies is all over the league. Yeah. I can't play with him. I wanted it to be my team. It shouldn't be his team. All this kind of, I'm tired of it.
Mm-hmm.
But stuff like this is, and look at the results. This is what happens when men be men.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Yeah, leadership is everything, man.
Yeah.
So they have a favorable schedule going forward. We've done I don't know how many weekly Jazz updates. I'm gonna repeat that here at Team Sports Entertainment. We've done it repeatedly, not just because they're on win streaks. Even when they were on a losing streak, we still showed up because we believe in what they do. It's good basketball.
Exactly.
It's good for the league. Mm-hmm. And I think their fans deserve it, man. And they're balling. And if they continue to do what they've been doing, they should be all right. But that doesn't mean there's not going to be a test.
Yeah, it's a big test. Because even like, and this is the one thing that I'm paying close attention to. Jordan Clarkson. Hands down, 6th man of the year right now.
It's on his way to his house already.
But this is the second half of the season, and he has a little playoff experience, but his time in the playoff, he didn't really play that well in the playoffs.
Cleveland, yeah.
He didn't play well enough. He didn't play well. And then last year he struggled. He kind of struggled in the playoffs and at the bubble. And so now, will Jordan Clarkson continue playing the way he's playing? Because he's pivotal to what they do. Yeah. And when he comes off the bench.
That's right.
So that's another thing that I'm watching closely. Can he keep this pace? And I mean, until he's slowed down, I have no other choice to think that he's coming to his own.
They just have to don't switch things up. Like I thought towards the end of the first half of the season, for lack of a better term, no, this is the correct term. But I think they became too emotional. They got outside of themselves instead of just playing ball,
worrying about the referees.
The refs, and you're gonna have those games. You're gonna lose a game here and there. Like, but if you get back to doing as they did against Houston, get back to doing what you're doing,
right?
Don't even give the refs a chance to even have an outcome or a decision-making process in the game. Get your team out of there early and do what you've been doing.
And see, that's the thing. That's the thing about this league. It's a star-driven league, and those calls seem to go to the team that's supposed to win. It's the same thing that's predicted to win. Those calls go to, and you got to understand that. And don't let that make you fall apart. And I believe in those last two, right before that was the thing. They were complaining too much about the referees. So when you start complaining about the referees, then you're allowing them to affect your game.
And one thing too, even with the All-Star, I had to go back and really like do some self-reflection and think about it, because I when the whole selection process happened. Even I was like, that's a bit much. But even then, I had to like really think about where they were at the time. Right? Think about this. There are how many players in the league? Probably maybe close to 400.
Yeah, somewhere in there. Yeah.
You had 2 All-Stars. It doesn't matter where you were selected at. They ended up with 3.
Yeah, and their coach Snyder.
Your coach. Yeah, you were 4 individuals represented your team.
So who cares if most people don't play with them in 2K and all that kind of stuff. You're there. Exactly.
3 players out of 400. How many other teams can say that? And I felt like that was another part where they were succumbing to the pressure, in the sense that certain questions you don't have to answer.
Those things that shouldn't even be there.
We don't have anything to prove to LeBron or this other individual.
Yes, you do. Because you do. You do have something to prove to them.
You want to be the champion, but you don't have to even
You want to smack them just like you smacked them when you played them.
Exactly.
That's what
that
you
was the
prove.
statement.
Yeah.
That's the only statement that was needed.
It all depends on what they mean by it when they say, well, we don't have nothing to prove. But I hope they don't think because they beat them then. No, you got to do it again. And again.
And again.
Right.
4 games in the series, yeah.
Right.
If you see them there. If they make it there, yeah. So even if you make it there.
Right.
But I just felt like you're the number 1 team in the league.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even have to listen to the chatter. Just ball because what you've been doing has been working.
Exactly. Just let that add fuel to the fire. Simple as that.
That's it. Because when you
the fire already lit.
when you start responding to certain things,
yeah, that's
individuals know you bothered.
Well, we're gonna label that now. When you start complaining and showing that things bother you, we're gonna call that the Kyrie Irving stage.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And they don't need that. They're too good of a team, man.
Yeah.
Like Utah, Jazz fans out there. You're too good to even worry about those things. If you stay the course, we just said you have the most favorable schedule in the league. You're up 2.5 games in first place in the Western Conference because that's all that matters at this particular moment, right? Do your thing.
Fans is coming back.
And nobody really wants to play a Game 7 in Utah.
No.
Whether it's this year, back when it was the Delta Center, when Stockton and Hornacek and Malone was there, nobody wanted to go there.
And they
still don't want to play there.
They still don't. They really don't.
No.
And mind you, understand this. They have the best record in the league right now. So and I'm praying that it happens, that the fans are able to get back full force. I doubt full force, but if we can get fans back in the building at all, I can tell you, Utah will have home court advantage all the way through. You don't want to go into Utah. No.
At all.
Mm-mm. So let's see how they finish off the season. That's the whole thing. That's the big test for the whole second half. Okay, the first half was great, but it's time. You can't live off of what they done in the first half.
Yeah,
you got to continue doing what you're doing, and build on that.
Yeah, and I know that the 3-point shot has gotten them where they are.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to see them sprinkle a little bit more things and going forward. I mean, you don't want to show everything. You'd be a fool to do that.
But I don't see any post-up player on that team. It would be nice if they could pick up something for inside.
But you know what's funny about that? The way the league has changed, you don't have to have a traditional post player. I've seen Kyrie Irving get 6 points a game on the post. Donovan Mitchell can do that.
Yeah. Well, he does that.
Yeah. Jordan Clarkson can do that. I'm not talking about back to the basket, but like you face up from maybe 17 feet. I'm talking about easy buckets.
The thing about that is different. That's why I mentioned that, because in the playoffs, it comes. You pretty much need somebody that you can just put on that block and throw that ball down, and they can go get a bucket or create something for someone else. It's that the game gets so difficult. That's the thing about the playoffs. You're not gonna be able to play the playoffs with you live by the 3, you die by the 3. I would like to see. I don't know what the salary cap look like with them, and even if they have a actual open spot. But I would love to see, which is hard because those type of players don't even exist anymore. But they need something like that.
Yeah.
For the playoffs. That would help.
Yeah.
So
it definitely wouldn't hurt. But even if they don't, the formula they have now is working.
Yeah.
But like you stated before, and I believe that wholeheartedly, things change in the second half of the season. It's 3 seasons, man. You got the first half, second half, and then those who are lucky enough make it to the postseason.
Right.
And that's when the adjustments really start taking place. When the team sees you 3 times in a week,
you got to be able to change.
You have to switch it up.
We talked about that in one of the episodes, Jazz updates.
Yeah.
About adjustments. And they're making them. And then so far they've been making them. And it don't stop. It just keep going on. You gotta keep evolving.
Yeah. And one thing about them though, you can always rest assured that you'll get maximum effort. Because even when the threes aren't falling,
They still pull.
They gonna lock up defensively. That's what keeps them in games. A lot of times you're like, oh, I don't know if they're gonna pull this one through, but they just stick around.
The defensive player of the year, that's Rudy Gobert.
Mm-hmm.
He always gives them an opportunity to win games because of the defense and the presence that he gives in that middle. Period.
Yeah.
They can go out and pressure the ball because he's back there.
Yeah.
To clean up any of the mistakes that's made.
Yeah.
But he has to really show me. I didn't like that matchup against Embiid. He has to really become a one-on-one defender to a post player, which is he's probably the only post player in the league today.
That's the thing, though. Like with that's greatness. Sometimes even the greatest defenders, it's just a bad matchup. Yeah. That's all that is. It's just a bad matchup. It's not that he's not trying anything. It's just Embiid is a top 3 MVP candidate,
but he's gonna have to come.
He has to accept that. Yeah,
he got to accept that challenge and just go at it,
because that's the only individual matchup that they have on that team. Because size-wise, no, that.
I mean, as far as length, yeah, but size, he's just way bigger.
Yeah.
Embiid is.
He's the only, at that size. There's no other person in the league that has that skill set.
I mention that because I'm talking about challenges for the second half, and Rudy Gobert needs to be getting himself mentally prepared for that type of center. Mm-hmm. Not always these modern day centers, because Embiid is playing that old school in the paint because Doc Rivers got him playing that way. And this was I'm mentioning Embiid like that because I'm talking about challenges and the second half, how teams is going to challenge you.
Yeah.
And you can't let those are the type of challenges that I think Gobert needs to go, because right now when I'm looking at it, I can feel that defensively, not more offensive, but he's one of the best. He's the best defensive center in the league to me.
Yeah.
And it would be nice for him to make sure that nobody is able to come in this paint and have a big game like that.
Yeah, and you got to mention that, right? Because you believe they're a real deal team. So
these are the things that
every team is going to face challenges, and you need to be prepared for it.
Exactly.
And don't act like it doesn't exist because you don't like that particular team or that's your rival. Go for blood. You got to know, because he's going to feel the same way when he see you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he's already been running his mouth.
Yeah,
and that's why I mentioned it. So it's time for Gobert to zip him up.
That's it. All right, man. Utah. It was. I wouldn't say it was a rough week. It was a week full of adversity, but that's what comes with being a champion.
And they was able to get 9 days off.
Yes.
Some rest.
Yeah.
And then get some of them bruises up and get ready for the next run.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's what the league is all about, man. They getting ready for that the next step, man. Utah Jazz. This is Team Sports Entertainment, the podcast. Before I close out, anything else you want to say?
That's it. Utah still
number one in the league.
Still.
Yeah. And shout out to Royce O'Neal. He don't get no love, but he be balling, man.
It's a lot of pieces. We didn't mention
forget stat lines.
We didn't even mention Bogdanovich. We
Joe
didn't mention Ingles and all that. It's just a team effort. That's what I love about the Utah Jazz.
And you also mentioned Conley making the All-Star team in the last weekly update.
Yeah.
Shout out to him for showing up during the All-Star break and showcasing his talent.
Yeah.
Most people probably
he almost won a 3-point contest.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. It was close.
Yeah.
It wasn't no runaway with it.
That was a big thing, man. He got a chance to shine in that moment, man. So, although they had a 2-game losing streak prior to the break, it all ended well because, got a time to relax, ball out there with the best players in the world, Conley in the finals and 3-point contest, and you still start the second half of the season number one in the league.
Oh, wait a minute. Gobert in the All-Star game. How
nice.
often do you see centers get that type of opportunity to play the way he played in the All-Star game? I mean, it was a rout, but Gobert was playing.
He was balling.
Yeah, he was playing.
Yeah. Right. Utah, man, looking good out there.
That's it.
That's it, man. All right, so we out of here. Team Sports Entertainment, the podcast. I'm going to repeat it again. You won't get this type of content in most areas because most cats don't watch the games. We watch Utah play. We're not just going by the stat sheet, so I would say the final score. We actually sit down on this very television right here, League Pass, and watch the games. That's why we can give you this in-depth content. And we here for the long run, man. Team Sports Entertainment, the podcast. I'm your host, Earl Teema, alongside my co-host, my big uncle, Alan Teema. Subscribe to the channel. Leave some comments below. Utah Jazz Nation, are you excited about the second half? What are your projections going forward? Do you still believe that you're going to be NBA champions? And also answer my uncle's question regarding Jordan Clarkson. Do you feel as though he can keep this going forward, even though the scouting reports will be changing going forward?
It's going to have to.
Yeah. And we out of here, man. Make sure y'all subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. Team Sports Entertainment, the podcast. Y'all be good. Utah Jazz Weekly Update.
Peace.